Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Well, what a privilege it is to have this show. I've been doing this show well over 6 years now, and don't know what made me think I should be doing this, but somewhere along the line, I got a harebrained idea that we needed to educate parents and teenagers about things like online social media exploitation and sex trafficking. And we have 6 years of doing this. It's just been kind of a crazy, crazy deal. But I so much love you guys and all of you that reach out to us, and so many of you do. Recently, there was a special on Fox News about a new kind of sextortion where young men, unfortunately, are, taking their own lives in a very short period of time. And we did a radio show on that right after Fox News did it. And several of you have written to me and said, how much they appreciated that show and how much they appreciated the insights, even though that's hard information to hear. Well, today I want to talk about when kids run away. And I want to do that because, it seems like in the last few months, I've had a lot more leads come in, or parents who contact me that are just absolutely beside themselves because their young person has disappeared or ran away. I don't know how many of you know this. Well, first of all, let me say, if you're new to this program is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. I happen to be the president and CEO of that, have been for like 12 years or something like that. And our organization works with the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. But we do a lot more than just combating human trafficking. Some of the lead up of human trafficking is often social media exploitation. And that really has taken off and just gone nuts over the last 5-6 years. Some of you may know we actually funded, or partially funded, along with Giving University, partially funded a film, which you can order, by the way. It is available on Amazon and iTunes and all the others, Apple TV, and I can't even think of all of them, but just go to sextortionfilm.com. It'll show you all the ways that you can order that. And we made that movie because so many kids, believe it or not, were sending those naked photos, literally self-created child pornography is what they're creating there because they're underage, and sending that out to people they don't know. It's amazing how many young people are willing to send a nude photo in the first hour or two that they meet somebody online. It's still, even though I've been in the business for a long time, that still just kind of amazes me. But when we all got involved in that, in fact, it was way back in 2012 or 13, maybe 14, we started something called Million Kids Missing Kids. Because what will happen is a young person will go online, and then a lot of times they never intend to run away. They're great kids, but they're curious as to who they're talking to. And they may sneak out and meet up with someone just to see if they're really what they're pretending to be. And then poof, they're gone. And these kids are unable to realize that the minute they get in the car, this guy is going to take their phone. Many of them are carrying weapons, loaded weapons, and they take off with this young person. And a person who never intended to disappear is suddenly gone. And as I began to understand the process, in the old days, a parent would go down and file a police report, and everybody would know that probably within 24 hours, the kid will give up and come home. But that's the old days. It's not like that anymore with social media involved. And so what happens is law enforcement will file a police report, and they put out a bulletin and all, but then it's filed with National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who puts out national hotline flyers. But that often takes 24 to 36 hours. And in the meantime, the parent is just out of their mind and they don't know where to go. And so what we did is we came up with Million Kids Missing Kids to kind of fill that gap and help those parents. And this is made possible, by the way, by all you wonderful donors out there that send us the money, because that takes a lot of time and cash flow to get that to happen. I lost track a long, long time ago, but we've sent out several million flyers over the years. And in many cases, we've been involved of either locating them or helping them return home. But the whole idea there is when you go to the police department, then you contact Million Kids at millionkids.org, not .com. That's a rock band. Anyway, go to millionkids.org and fill out that form and send it in to us. Now, we need a police report number and a police contact. We ourselves are not the people that are getting involved in it, because this could very quickly become a legal case, and we want law enforcement involved in it right off the bat. So the purpose here is to help parents have another tool to reach tens of thousands of people with their flyer, and also direct any kind of leads down to that detective or investigator that's handling that case. And so that is what we've been doing for a very long time. But I got to thinking today, it seems like it's picked up lately, the number of cases that we have going out there. By the way, if you want to receive those flyers so you can keep an eye out for them, contact us. Just simply go to millionkids.org and sign up for that newsletter. Or you can sign up for the insider alerts. And by the way, if you really want to get involved, you can go to, if you're on Facebook, go to Million Kids Supporters on Facebook and sign up for that. That's where I educate you about new cases all the time. I put case studies on Million Kids Supporters on Facebook. And it's a private group. It's not open to the public unless you write to us and say, I would like more training on this, and we will admit you to the group and you can see what's going on there. So we started this Million Kids Missing Kids, and we get involved with a lot of it. But it seems like of late that this has just been a real problem. We're seeing a lot more kids like disappearing. I did some research for this show today, and one of the things that we learned was the National Runaway Switchboard and Center for Adolescent Recovery and Education received more than 1.5 million teen runaways each year. So these are leads, 1.5 million leads from teenagers who, or their parents, who are filing with the National Runaway Switchboard. Now, that's completely different than NCMEC, which also has their own numbers, and their numbers are very, very similar. And so what we have here is a lot of young people that are running away. And I want to talk about why that is happening and what you can do. What is the driving force in some of these? Now, previously, it's been interesting doing the research on this, because I got quotes from a whole bunch of therapists across the United States that deal with runaway and missing kids. And I'm going to try to get a couple of them to be guests on our program, because I'd like you to hear it from them. This is a quote from a therapist who's a licensed social worker, James Lehman. I looked him up. He's out of Maine, but I liked his line of thinking on here. He says, running away is a serious problem, according to the National Runaway Switchboard, an organization that takes calls. 1 in 7 kids between the ages of 10 to 18 will run away at some point. 1 in 7. 1 in 7. There are 1 million to 3 million runaway and homeless kids living on the streets in the United States as we speak. So this James Lehman, he says any child can run away at any time if the circumstances are right. If they're under enough stress, any kid can justify running away. And I think that's true. I mean, we all have times, there are days I want to run away. Actually, I was thinking about an hour and a half ago. Anyway. But I don't have time to run away. My desk's full and I can hardly get the door open. Anyway, but it's tough. It's tough in life, and especially today. I think I shared with you a while back that I spoke out at Beaumont High a while back. What a great group of people they are. And now everybody else wants me to come out, and I'm like, I'm getting old and my knees won't do that anymore. 7 straight hours of entertaining 300 kids at a time talking about sex is a real challenging job, let me me tell you. But one of the things that I saw there as I'm on that campus is just how competitive it is for a child and what it's like to be a student in a universe of 3,300 other students. The competition, the pressure is enormous, let alone what might be going on at home. So I can see why kids would want to run away from time to time. Life gets tough and you want to run. This is Opal Singleton. We are up against that break, so stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Are you tired of eating at the same old restaurants? Let me tell you about a fabulous Italian restaurant we found in Riverside. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant. Their caprese salad is exquisite with candied balsamic glaze. All of their sauces are special recipes using only the best olive oils. The salads are fresh and healthy. They offer a wonderful array of pastas, including shrimp scampi, capellini, bolognese, and lasagna. They're famous for their gourmet pizza, and you can order online for takeout or have a special date for dining in with family and friends. Mamma Mia's caters special occasions and hosts private events. You have to try it out. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant, located at 10971 Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, 1 block north of La Sierra on Magnolia. That's Mamma Mia's in Riverside. Be sure to tell Michael, Alex, or Joseph you heard it on AM 590 The Answer.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of millionkids.org. I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. This show's brought to you by Million Kids, and today we are talking about why do kids run away? Well, kids have been running away for years. There's nothing new about that. But I honestly believe it's quite a bit different today. And so I want to kind of delve in. I've gone out and done some research, got other people's opinion besides the one that I happen to form because I'm involved in it on a day-to-day basis. Back to James Lehman. He said, running away is like any action. In order to do it, you need 3 things. And I wanted to quote him on that because I had never really thought about it as a process, if you will. He's saying you need the ability, the willingness, and the opportunity. So he says kids have the opportunity and ability to run away every day. All of us do. So all it really takes is the willingness to do it. The willingness can develop for a lot of reasons. It could be a stressful situation your child's under, maybe fear. I think fear is probably often a driving deal on that, of getting consequences for something they did, a form of a power struggle, not wanting to go to school, or it could be a substance abuse problem. I would like to add to that, and we're going to go into this today, that this doesn't take into account, I believe, related to relationships online. And I am absolutely convinced that you can be running from something. And what I see all too often now is running to something. And so we're going to break that down on that. Sometimes it's a fantasy relationship. I knew of a young lady up in San Bernardino County. Just a straight A student, smart as a whip, gorgeous, wonderful kid, went to a private school, went out, got in a car to meet a guy, never intended to go anywhere with him, just wanted to see what he was like. And her life changed forever as he pulled a gun on her and took her off to Nevada. And she was gone for several weeks before anybody could find her, and her life took a very dark turn. And it all started because of a fantasy relationship. I've written a book about that. It's a little bit older now, but we've sold tens and tens of thousands of them, and it's still very appropriate. It's called Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. And I just want to kind of go off on that tangent with you for a minute and explore what that thought is all about. At the time, I was dealing with sex trafficking. You see, nobody ever thinks they're going to end up being in forced prostitution several times a day and somebody else keeping all your money. Nobody was ever able to visualize that. It starts as a fantasy. You know, this guy's going to like you. He's going to give you everything you want, and you're going to be oh so special and like that. And I often will say to parents, let's say your 13-year-old daughter suddenly has a new friend and he's, let's say, 23, and you don't like him. He shows up. He's too old for her. You know, you're saying you're grounded, clean up your room, and he's saying, hey, baby, you're hot. And your daughter is not listening to reason. You are not arguing with her and you're not arguing with him. You're arguing with this fantasy that he's helped her develop. And that is the art of grooming. You see, grooming guys, I mean, pimps and pedophiles, they know exactly how to do this. They don't come in there and say, do this, do that, do this, do that. No, they come in and fill in all the blanks of all your hopes and dreams. And so you are not arguing with her. You're not arguing with him. You're arguing with those, what got filled into those blanks. And if you get in a tug of war with a fantasy with your child, you're going to lose. You have to share with them to help them unpack and determine reality from fantasy, because none of us want to give up our fantasy. Well, that is what is happening in some cases here when they run away, is that the internet is just a playground to develop a fantasy relationship. Look at all the romance scams that have gone on with adults, you know, sometimes older adults that ought to know better, you know, start giving out money to people they never met. That's a fantasy. And so this is the same kind of thing that often takes place when your child disappears. So Lehman goes on to say, in his case, the main reason, and keep in mind, he doesn't put much emphasis on internet fantasies and running away to something. So we're first going to talk about running away from something. The number one reason people run away, kids run away, is often abuse, but we'll come back to that. He's saying the main reason why kids run away is because they don't have good problem-solving skills. Running away is an either-or kind of solution. It's a product of black and white thinking, and I think that's a good and powerful analogy to give. Kids run away because they don't want to face something, and that includes emotions that they don't want to deal with. The adolescent who runs away has run out of problem-solving skills, and leaving home, along with everything else that is overwhelming them, seems to solve that immediate problem. So running away in some ways is akin to, for instance, adults who will go gambling because they don't want to think about what is happening in their life and coming up with ways to resolve it. They want to escape from it. Or maybe they get drunk, or maybe they get high, and it is a way of getting away from their problem rather than dealing with it. Well, when you're a teenager, a lot of times it seems like you just have to get away because your life is so full of pressure, you don't know where to go. The scary part here for teenagers is that runaway youth are highly at risk of being trafficked. You know, there's a whole culture going on right now of kids who want to live on the street and be homeless kids. And, you know, they think that that's a lifestyle, and they'll lure kids into that kind of lifestyle. I'm going to tell you very quickly, you will find out that you're going to miss home. That is not a healthy lifestyle. But the scary part of that is that National Center for Missing and Exploited Children say that 1 out of 6 kids that are runaways will most likely be a victim of sex trafficking within the first 48 hours. What do I just say on that? What did I just say? Let's clean up my English here. What I'm saying is they get out there and suddenly it isn't all a bed of roses. What they're saying is that they got to find a way to pay for food and for whatever they're getting, housing or whatever. And they will put her next to another girl who says, hey, I made $500 last night and so can you. What they're not saying is that girl did not get to keep that money. And that is how quickly it goes and their lives change, is they get out there and they end up in sex trafficking in exchange for a place to live and someone to take them in. This is why Million Kids introduced Million Kids Missing Kids, because we want to be able to get those flyers out there in that first 48-hour period if the parent will contact us almost immediately. Other reasons that have been given by, for instance, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is there's abuse in the family somehow, whether it's sexual or physical. Maybe the parents are fighting all the time, or maybe parents are separating or divorcing, or there's an arrival of a new step parent and maybe other half siblings that maybe they did not want. That's a fractured family structure that is going on there, and the kid is going to feel like they're not as important, and nobody really cares whether they stay or go. All of those are very, very scary things. I would like to add to that, Mom and Dad, that if you're thinking of getting a divorce, if you're arguing and you're thinking of leaving, I want you to really think about the impact on your children, especially if your children are 13, 14, 15 years old. Those are called the life event years. And if you have a parent who separates out from you during that time, it will change your ability to have relationships, and it will change your ability to be able to feel safe and to feel valued and that you're enough. And you will spend the rest of your life overcoming abandonment issues in those particular timeframes. Why that is, we can't really tell you, other than you're finishing up or going through puberty, and you're defining your own self. And, regardless of whether who's at fault there on a divorce, if you're a young person involved in a parents that are getting a divorce, you will blame yourself for the rest of your life that you were not enough, even if none of that is true. It can also happen with a death in the family, especially at that age. Or maybe somebody has a new baby that is replacing their role in the family unit. All of those things impact a child and their feeling of inclusion and safety within the home front. And those are all things that can be talked about, and conversation can make a big difference. This is Opal Singleton. We are up against that break. Be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift, Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton and we're talking about when kids run away. Our organization is Million Kids and we do send out the flyers for Million Kids, Missing Kids. And I really do hope that you will follow us. Go to millionkids.org and sign up for our newsletters. Sign up for our insider alerts that you get there. And if you're a Facebook person, please go to Million Kids Supporters and sign up. I'll have to approve you to get in, but we have about 250 people on there. We're not looking to have thousands. That's a way that I use case studies to train people. So we're talking about factors, those things that impact a young person that might cause them to run away from something. The birth of a new baby where they're displaced, maybe family financial worries where they can't compete at school. Where everybody's very concerned. We saw a lot of this kind of thing as a part of the pandemic and the COVID lockdown. Maybe they are drinking a lot of drugs and alcohol, or they have parents who are constantly drunk or high, and they want to get away from it. Maybe they're having problems at school that can really set that thing off. And share this with you because pay attention, mom and dad. If that's happening, it is a big deal. All you have to do is spend a couple of days on a school campus and you start to understand the world that our kids are living in. I think for all of us, if you haven't done that and spent time on a campus, I think that you have to have your eyes opened about what it's like because it is extremely competitive. You have to wear the right things. You have to use the right language. You have to be in, and you can't be too nerdy, but you can't be too stupid. And if you overdress or you underdress, all of those things are really huge peer pressure that is going on. Maybe another one is if they're not succeeding in school. Maybe they didn't get the role that they wanted in a school play, or maybe they're flunking out of a class and they just simply don't know how to deal with it, and they don't even know how to admit it themselves. One of the things you want to look for if you have a missing or runaway child is considering this, especially if it's one that does this more than once. Is this based on an episode of an event that is taking place, or are they doing this regularly? And it's important that you understand the difference if this is happening. One of the things, if it's an episode, this type of running away doesn't follow a specific pattern. This is coming from Lehman, by the way. It's triggered by a specific event or episode that causes a teen to leave their home. If a child or teen is being abused, they could leave after a particularly bad event. They may feel they have to leave after coming out as gay or transgender to their parents or to avoid problems at school. I want to address that a minute, this issue with gay or transgender, LGBTQI. I'm not sure what the right letters are. It seems to change regularly. But here's the deal. With so much public emphasis on whether or not you're gay or straight or trans, all of those things, so many of our young kids are turning to the internet for answers. And the biggest one they go to is Grindr, Grindr. There's no E in it, Grindr. And what will happen there is they will meet someone who lives nearby them. That is not an accident. That dating site has a geo-preference software in it, and it will give you the people who are closest to where you're transmitting from. And that person will come along and say, hey, you don't have to tell your folks, let's just talk. I'll kind of mentor you through it. It'll be our secret. And that's where a lot of times the abuse will begin. When your child runs away after something has happened, it's viewed as a particular episode or episodic runaway. It's not a consistent pattern. Your child is not using it as a problem-solving strategy at the time. It is also not something they use to gain power. Rather, they might be trying to avoid some consequence, some humiliation, or some embarrassment. And so in this, let's say they were caught cheating in school, or maybe they're pregnant and they're afraid to tell the parents. And they have an event in their life they can't deal with. And so they panic and they will run away. Now, a chronic runaway is quite a bit different. That's a youth that does it as a form of manipulation. Now, this is a therapist talking. I'm not saying this myself, but I found it interesting and I wanted to share it with you. They will run away if they don't get what they want as a way to draw attention to themselves from a parent. You might hear the phrase, if you don't do it, I'll run away, in order to threaten the parents. Teens who run away chronically more often have a place to run to. I would like to point that out, Mom and Dad. Kids who are running away regularly most often have a place to run to, like another relative's house or friend or significant other's house. And so watch out for that. And by the way, other families in the community, if somebody's running away and hiding at your house, you're complicit in allowing that to happen. And so while you want them to be in a safe haven, they also need to come to some sort of terms with their parents, with counseling, so that they don't use that as a form of manipulation rather than to learn healthy problem solving. Kids who consistently use running away to gain power in the family have a chronic problem. I'd like to reemphasize that I can't say that enough. Realize that chronic running away is just another form of a power struggle. Manipulation, acting out, is just very high risk acting out. They have upped the ante, is what they're saying here. They know that their parents are worried. In fact, think about what it's like to be a parent. When you go into your kid's bedroom and they're no longer there, when their bedroom door is open, or they've snuck out in the middle of the night, or they simply don't come home, think about what that is like. I'm sorry about this phone. I forgot to shut it off, folks. I get these calls all day long, and some of them are for kids who are running away. But anyway, stay with me a minute here. What I want you to see is that they know that mom and dad are worried. They know that. And, parents, they just don't know what to do, because the problem here is the options are endless. I mean, they might be with a guy or a girl. They may be doing drugs. They may be off in some sort of stash house where they're smoking pot with somebody. They may be over in LA. They may go to a group of homeless kids who are camped out somewhere. And the parent, maybe they're in a car in another state off with some pedophile. Or maybe, they've met somebody online who's going to take them far away and you'll never see them again. A parent's fears are justified, and the kid gets it in these kinds of chronic runaway situations. Some parents engage in bargaining and over negotiating with their kids over this when they shouldn't, because they're afraid. But you need to understand that kids who threaten to run away are using it for power. This not only gives them power over themselves, but power over their parents and their families as well. When a parent gives into this threat, the child starts using it to train them. Let me say that again. When the parent gives into this threat, the child starts using that behavior to train the parent. A parent in this situation will learn to stop sending their child to the room if he or she threatens to run away, if it happens. So kids who chronically threaten to run away are not running away to solve one problem. They're running away because their main problem is that they do not have problem-solving skills, and they're trying to avoid any kind of accountability. So I want you to think about that a minute, because is your child just have one episode where they're trying to tell you that they're in a crisis and they don't know what to do with it, and off they go. And that crisis could be anything. They could be maybe being bullied at school. Maybe they're in trouble online. Maybe somebody is blackmailing them, and they don't know how to say it. And maybe they've sent a naked photo, and they're scared to death of the repercussions. So all of those are very real things. On running from, the National Runaway Safe Line says that 47% of children experience conflicts with parents and guardians at home. 34% of the runaways experienced sexual abuse, and 43% of teens reported physical abuse as one of the main reasons they leave. So this is interesting to understand why this is happening. We're going to go on and talk about what happens when it's really that they're running to something in the next segment, and more important, how to recognize it and how to intervene, and what you as a parent can be doing about that. Running away is a terrifying thing for a parent, but it is also a moment of decision where something has to change. This is Opal Singleton. Be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited: Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited: Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited: Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty, 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited: Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we're talking about when kids run away. So some kids run away just because things have gotten way too much. Something has happened to them. Maybe they're being abused. Maybe they fear that their family unit is completely falling apart if mom and dad are fighting regularly, if things don't seem like they're okay. Sometimes kids run away because they feel like they're not safe where they're at, or they often will feel like they're just not enough. And oh, well, I might as well leave. I don't think anybody will notice. I've seen that happen in families where there's a lot of instability in the marital relationship that is going on. Maybe a lot of infighting, or maybe one of the parents is cheating on it, or one of them is an alcoholic. And that kid will process that as if it's me, it's my fault, I'm not enough. If I were more, if I were better, if they could pay attention, they would come home and they would do something differently. So some of it is when the home feels unsafe to them. And some of it is that they are running from something so that they can escape, just to get away, where they feel like they have a release of pressure, where they might be able to succeed. And that is oftentimes that child in a environment that is unstable, that is dysfunctional, will feel like they're not enough, that they have failed, that they need to try harder. They need to be able to change. They're doing that because they can't change you. And, they don't know quite how to go about doing that. And they can't even discuss it in many cases. Others may be experiencing bullying at school, or some sort of mental health problems such as depression. In those cases, you might see cutting. And cutting is, that's a whole nother subject itself. But cutting is a cry for help. Cutting, when you start to do self-mutilation, that's part of your self-loathing kind of thing. And the feelings there that it's your only alternative. And if you have a child that is cutting, take your child and yourselves down somewhere and get some counseling and be able to turn that around successfully. Because if you just ignore that, if you're seeing those kinds of signs, it's going to get a lot worse, and it isn't going to get better on its own. NCMEC says that the youth say that physical abuse, sexual abuse are the most reasons why they're why they are running away or reaching out for assistance on a suicide line. Sexual abuse is the top reason for running away. Some children placed into foster care and adoptive home might be ready to go back to their birth families. I got to believe that's true. I mean, your loyalty is going to lie no matter how bad your relationship is that you came out of. Just because you've been removed from it does not mean that your loyalty won't lie there. And some children believe that they've been promised safety in some way, shelter, money, and security. I wanted to point that out because your kid goes to school and they maybe meet an older guy, especially if it's a young girl, but it can be a guy also. Come over here. You don't have to go home to that mess. I'll take care of you. This is the grooming process. I share with kids, if you need somebody to take care of you, you're going to be very, very vulnerable. Because the way you stand against not being violated is you know who you are and what you stand for, and you don't need other people to take care of you. You have a healthy self-image and you can interact with others. But that's a challenge there, because people will come along and offer them money or security or even such things as the latest video game to be able to be in there. Some of them, if they're into alcohol and drug use, what they'll do there is they may be using a lot more than parents know about, and they want to use more frequently, and they resent somebody saying, no, you can't do that. A lot of times it's a feeling of failure, that they just can't get it right. They're tired of being criticized. They don't know how to get it right. They feel like they're not enough. They're inadequate. Nobody loves them. Nobody respects them. Nobody likes them, and nobody admires them. What does that tell you, mom and dad? If you're dealing with that kind of thing, that's got to be turned around. There needs to be healthy conversations about your value and your worth and, your talent. And yeah, you're not good at everything, but you're darn good at this. And you're good at problem solving. And I'm proud you're my kid. Those are all things. It's one thing to teach by criticism, but you have to counter that criticism with belief in them. And that's not fake, approval, fake statements that just kind of build you up when they're not real. Kids can see right through that. You need a solid relationship. Million Kids has a saying, and we actually sell challenge coins on this. I believe the 4 most important words on earth are I believe in you. And that's what every kid needs to hear. By the way, that's what the spouse needs to hear too, when none of us outgrow it, because we want people to believe in us. And that is the most, if you want to bulletproof your kid, let them know you believe in them. Okay, they don't do everything right. That's not a requirement. They're human. You accept their flaws and you laugh about them and you teach them to laugh about them. And that's part of the deal. You cannot raise perfect kids that have to be right all the time. If you do, they're going to be wrong sometime in the future. Nobody can be like that. We're all humans. But what we all crave to hear is, I believe in you. And I think that's the best way to turn any of these relationships around. If you have a kid that just isn't, sure of themselves, they seem to be in a situation where they don't feel approval or inclusion or acceptance. Boy, I'll tell you, after spending time on a school campus, I can see where you might develop that complex. But find the things that child is good at and let them know that you're really, really proud of them. Also, I think one of the most important things that a family can do for everybody in the family is be proud of your family. We're the Larson family, we're the Nathan family, we're the whatever family, and our family sticks by each other. We look out for each other and we defend each other and we support each other. And yeah, we don't always get along, but we are family. And this family would not be the same if you were not in it. And I think that counteracting that early on will help a lot. We're going to make this into a two-part series. Can't say that word. I was talking to the producer because I want to get into when they're running to something versus when they're running away from something. So I think we're going to cover that next week. So we've talked about running away. It can be a lot of different things that they're running from. But the name of the game there is that you sit and have healthy conversations. What's this all about? Can we share? Can you trust me with your thoughts on this? And I'll try not to be judgmental. And we will work it out because you're an important part of this family. And if anything ever happened to you, if you disappeared, if you left us in some way, we would never be the same. Now, that doesn't mean you get away with everything you want to get away with, because I'm still the parent, but you are one impressive kid and we love you and we want you to be part of this family. And I want you to know that if you can't come to me, maybe you can come to your dad, but we want to be here for you. The last thing we would ever want to do is have to worry about, did you go off somewhere and where are you and who is doing what to you? And we're not there to defend you and help you and help you stay safe and get home. You're safe here with us. And that's really, really important. And take a look at your relationships at home. If you are not providing a safe environment for your children, that's the first place to start, mom and dad. Let's go get some counseling. Let's build it up. Make sure that the home that you're providing is a home that welcomes not only your kids, but other people, and that you find the good in other people. Well, folks, as we come to the end of this show, I just want to remind you that, family is everything. If you lose your family, you've lost everything. So put your arms around your spouse this week and let them know how proud you are of them and how important they are to you in your life. And look at each of your children. Spend time with them and listen to them. Let them tell you their fears and their desires and their aspirations. And let them know, I believe in you. That's the most important thing that we can give when all is said and done. And one day we're all coming down and getting older. Having our kids love us and we love them is the most important thing in the world. Have a great week, folks. We'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.